Hi, book lovers, and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins, and today I'm talking to Roger Bray. Roger is the author of Psychosis, When a Dream Turns Deadly, and his just published crime novel, The Picture When Greed Turns Deadly. Hi, Roger. Thank you for coming back on Book Talk Radio Club.
Good morning, Claire. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. First of all, would you like to give Book Talk Radio Club's listeners a brief synopsis of The Picture When Greed Turns Deadly?
The basic idea behind the picture is I suppose, a look at the balance between people who act for the good of their communities and people who act for the good of themselves. The basic premise being that a picture was taken of a disaster event, and whilst the people in the picture didn't want any thanks or celebrity from it, other people decide that because the persons in the picture can't be identified, that they would use it for their own good to develop their own celebrity.
Personally, I think there's just too much of that about.
Well, I do too, which is that there is a definite balance in the book between public service and talentless celebrity.
The book is set against the background of the 2011 Japanese tsunami. Why did you choose that event as a background?
Mainly because it was fresh in my mind when I first started developing the idea for the picture.
Right.
I needed a picture that was going to be emblematic of an event, and it had to be a world famous event, something that really struck home and meant something to people. So I used the tsunami because, I mean, to be honest, it was the biggest event of that period over those 2 or 3 years.
Ben is the main character of the picture and a hero, shying away from publicity for his heroic acts as a rescue volunteer. Quite an unusual person these days, as everything seems to be about celebrity. Tell me about him.
Well, Ben is an ex-police officer from Portland in Oregon, and he's spent his working life serving his community. So it's a bit of a cliche, I suppose. But when you look at emergency service workers, be they police officers, firefighters, doctors, nurses, paramedics, people who volunteer in rescue organisations, even social workers, all these people, I think, have a sense of community spirit about them.
Yes.
And they don't demand celebrity or to be thanked for what they do, because that's their job.
Yeah.
They do it because they love it, because they want to help their community, and they don't expect thanks.
Right.
So Ben's character in the time period that the picture covers is very much formed on his 30-odd years as a police officer.
The picture was in fact published prior to your other novel, Psychosis, but you decided to have it professionally edited. How important is professional editing? I mean, many self-published authors believe they can edit their own books. I think there's some space here for advice, Roger.
Look, I must admit I was a self-published author who believed I could edit my own book. But look, why people come to that conclusion, I don't know, be it ego or naivety, or because they're trying to save money, because editing books isn't exactly cheap.
Yeah.
But it's probably the preeminent thing that an author can do. I've got an excellent editor, a lady by the name of Emma Mitchell. She edited my first 2 books, The Psychosis and The Picture. Not only did she turn them into better novels, but she also taught me a lot more about writing. So, as from those 2 perspectives, I think that having your books edited by a good editor is something. It's invaluable. I think it's something that everyone should decide to do.
Both novels have distinctive covers. Did you design them?
No, I didn't. I have a designer, an organisation called Deranged Doctors, and I've worked closely, but they do some fantastic covers. I've worked closely with them. I had a basic idea of what I wanted for the cover,
right,
and worked with them to come up with the overall cover of the picture. picture, and obviously of psychosis as well. But there is a sort of a theme, I suppose, in
Yes.
the makeup of the covers that reflect me as a writer.
And I
And
think
they were certainly on board with that when they took my ideas, and we worked a bit of backwards and forwards until we came up with the covers.
I think that if you can keep the covers on the same kind of theme, readers associate the covers with the author in the end. I really do like your covers. I think they're very interesting.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, certainly the idea of being able to recognise an author by the theme or the cover as a concept is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
For me as an author, as to publicise my work.
Yeah.
And that's going back to your question about editing. I think having professional covers is another must-do for self-published authors.
At present, the picture is on a blog tour. For those listeners unfamiliar with the term, please could you explain a blog tour and why you've chosen this route to publicise your book?
Okay, a blog tour. I must admit, my wife does most of my social media and marketing for me. So I try and get her an answer to this question. But my understanding is that basically you get a lot of bloggers together, and they're coordinated by people who offer this service. The blog tour is a range of things. It could be a Q&A about the author, it can be a review, it could be an extract and comments from the blogger, but it's basically a short-term 7 or 10-day group of blogs, maybe 2 or 3 a day, so there's a fair amount of work involved in them, and there's a fair bit of preparation work that goes into them. But the idea being a 7 or 10-day blitz, I suppose, on your work. And to be frank, I've found the bloggers that I was put onto that have requested to either review or do Q&As for me. The bloggers have been excellent. They write well. They've got good sites. They are really good at what they do. I've been very impressed with the bloggers, and I've been very impressed with the blog tour as well. So far, I've got some excellent reviews.
Fantastic.
And that's part of it as well, to put my work out and say, well, hey, what do you think? And I've been getting some excellent reviews about the picture.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
It's been very pleasing.
Good. So would you like to tell Book Talk Radio Club listeners about your other crime novel, Psychosis?
Okay, Psychosis is, although we go back to the covers and how similar they are, that these aren't a series of books, although they're all set in Oregon in the US. Psychosis is about a guy who's been arrested, charged, and convicted of his wife's murder, even though his wife's body was never found, and the evidence that the police had was thin at best. So anyway, he's in jail, and he could have sort of plea bargained and got a less sentence, but because he was innocent, or because he's determined that he was innocent, he refuses to do that, and he's in a top security prison. The idea behind the book is not just about him, though. It's also about the family. His family is more predominantly just his sister, and she has been sentenced as well, because she's on the outside trying to prove his innocence, and while she's trying to do that and everything that's going on around it, her life pretty much collapses as well.
Sure.
So that's the basic start of the book. She then meets, just by chance, a private investigator who's an ex-soldier, and she tells him about her brother, and between them they go on the hunt to find out, to look at the evidence, to find out actually how Alex, the brother, finished up in jail, look at the evidence that convicted him, but then actually try and find out what happened to his wife.
Interesting. Sounds a good book.
Thank you.
So what's next on the book front for Roger Bray? Another crime novel, or will you write in a different genre this time?
I've got a third crime novel I've just finished writing.
Okay.
It's actually with my editor at the moment.
Right.
So I'm hopeful of getting that published mid-year. We're probably looking at middle of July, with another blog tour going on about the same time. As I say, it is a crime novel. When this third book is out, I'm thinking about another couple of areas I'd like to write. I do enjoy writing sort of crime thrillers, literary thrillers from a sort of a different angle, which the picture, Psychosis, and the new book are. But there are other areas I'd like to write and I might just play with some ideas over the next 6 months and see where they take me.
So where can Book Talk Radio Club listeners purchase your books?
Okay, well, at the moment I've got them available as either e-books on Amazon and Smashwords, and through Smashwords, other sites like Kobo. They're also available in paperback through Amazon and also through various websites in the UK and in Australia.
Lovely. Well, that's terrific. Thank you, Roger. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you've published your next book, and I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future, and thank you everyone for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, Claire.
There we go.